What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the fifth episode of the Fish Feed. I've officially been doing this over a month now. So, welcome, guys. Got Nick in here, got Bob in here, and we got, well, a bunch of other people in here that haven't commented yet, but I appreciate you guys all coming back. So, we really didn't come up with a topic last week, but I said, you know what? I do so much on live food that let's talk about culturing this week. So, as you guys have probably seen in the last couple episodes, I'm a huge supporter of feeding your fish as much live food as humanly possible. It's better for me during the warm months of the year because I have a huge tub of Daphnia outside. But during the year, I do culture a lot of things inside, mainly for fry. I wish I can do better on everything else. So I started using the Sarah probiotic stuff last week for all my adults. I absolutely love this food. I've gone through, I don't know, maybe an ounce of it already. I have noticed some crazy egg production this week on my rainbows feeding this food. And within a week, I don't know if I'm going to get much data for the guppies. They do eat it. They do really like it. It gets soft pretty fast in the water. They go crazy for it. So I'm going to keep feeding it. So far, it's been pretty damn awesome. I'm hoping that the audio is okay today. I'm going to be honest with you. Even having a fry system, or not a fry system, an automatic water change system, I get lazy and I forget to turn it on sometimes. So it's been probably 2 or 3 days since I've actually done a full water change on my tanks. And when I say a full water change, I mean leave it on for a few hours. Hold on 1 second. All right, there we go. Sorry, my headset was turning off. But yeah, this Sarah food is pretty awesome so far. So I'm keeping my water change system on for a good portion of the night here to try to make up for what I've lost. No, it's on right now. About I'm going to say about a gallon-ish of water trickles into each tank an hour. So if I leave it on for a few hours, I don't know. You do the math. What's up, Dave? How you been? Looking forward to the next Mako meeting. What is the Sarah technically called? Sarah, probiotic nature. Wachstumfutter growth food with a bacillus probiotic. I don't know. We got it as a sample, and whenever I buy samples from everyone in our club meetings of a food I've never tried before, I'd like to see how it does. I think I fed those guys already. Whatever, they got 2 feedings. Yes, I did. Whatever. Everybody loves this stuff, so everybody will get food today. Yeah, my God, these the parvas are growing so much and breeding so much for me now. Every one of these things, I think I've got every one of my fry trays going with the exception of this one, and I now have more that I have to move out of my fry system into these. So I've got to print more more trays. So that's good. Okay, so today I'm gonna blow through the foods that I normally feed, and then I want to get into cultures because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 vinegar eel cultures going, and 5 microworms or Walter worms or banana. I don't know. They're a mini type of worm. I don't know whether they're micros, bananas, or Walters at this point in time. But I've got a couple cultures of them going, and stuff needs to be revamped. So I'm going to blow through feeding some brine shrimp, and then I'm going to feed out of some of those cultures. And then after I feed out of some of those cultures, I'm going to do new ones to show you guys how I actually do new cultures of things. Right now, I'm just resetting up some brine shrimp here. You know what? I don't think you guys really ever get to see this. So I always have two things of brine going. I do my water the day before, I guess, because this is kind of a culture. I do my water the day before. This way it gets to room temperature. And then the next day I put in the eggs. And then normally what I wind up doing in 24 hours, which is what this is, because I feed at roughly 7 o'clock each night, a big feeding. So I will take my one thing of brine shrimp. So this is the one that I started last night. I will feed this out tonight, and then there'll be a little bit of residual left in here that I'll feed out in the morning. Basically just to like my fry, to make sure they get at least 2 meals a day. So do you reseed the Daphnia, or it just comes back? It comes back, Cosmin, every year. I've never this is my God, I'm going into my 5th year living here now. I have done Daphnia outside for 4 out of those 5 years, and I bought a bag from Joe Jascott at one of the auctions. Then I mixed it with some Moina. So I put Moina in the tub, and I've never had to reseed it since then. It just grows back every year. I'm sorry. I'm trying. Listen, Nick, talk to my wife. They do make they do look like perfect fish tanks, but what's up? We got fish famine here. So yeah, Nick, when and if you get married, I'd like to see you convince your spouse to turn a washing machine into a fish tank. I mean, listen, I don't know if you guys have ever met the Garden of Eden. What's his name? Grant and Shelby from the Garden of Eden. They turned their pool in Florida into a fish tank, which is pretty damn cool. No. The only bad thing is when I got my water change system going, this is how I got to get my. I have a bypass here, and this is how I get my water because it's on my tank. So, God, a lot of brine shrimp today. I think I put like an extra scoop in last night because I knew I needed to do a good live food feeding today. Ask for forgiveness, not permission. I know. I hear you, brother. That's usually my motto, but I don't know. When you've been with someone for 15 years, you kind of have to come to compromises, and I think we have some pretty awesome compromises here. I mean, you have to realize my fish room is my is also my laundry room, so get you over here looking at the killie closet because I don't really get too much because it's so tight space over here. We'll do a tour here one day. Maybe when I get a smaller tripod. These guys are loving. So the good thing about the water change system is I have everything on zones. So I have literally a zone that's right up here that I could turn this whole section off. So like after about an hour, these things get pretty much a 100% water change. Well, I don't know how much of a water change it is, more than a water mix, because technically it's a, the whole thing is an overflow system. Down here, I've got, let's see if I could take this off. I want to show you how many fry I got in here, because I don't think I've shown these off yet. See how steady my hands are. So unfortunately, there's green water here, but I've got a whole spawn of gold gardener in here. Actually, this is a couple spawns, because it was 4 eggs, and then it was a bunch more. There's about 50 Gunther in here. There's about 50 Gunther Zanzibar in here. This is a new Northo for me, Malmorius Makubwe. And I have one, I think I have a pair in here that hatched out. And that one's definitely a male. I'm not sure if you could see him, but then a couple rainbows and a couple mollies back there. This is a pair of Austral. These are spotless. Well, it's a spotless male with a female that doesn't have many spots on them. Some rainbow grow out. Some Scriptatheosimian Jerryi, a whole spawn of those. Thank Clay for the green water that he lovingly gave me before he passed. Whole spawn of Northobranchius palmquisti. I think every fish in here, out of like 20-something fish, is a female, which sucks. Move over here, Northobranchius riggenbachii. I just picked these up at the Mako meeting off Chris Diaz, I believe. Nice pair of Atheosimians. They lay really big eggs. A Rakovi hatch. This is they're pretty young in here. You're probably not going to be able to see them. I've got some platinum rice fish tucked away over here in the corner. Tiger Battis, a red dot Sheili female. This was supposed to be a pair of Pseudomcgill Gertrude. Looks like 2 females to me. So whatever. A couple pair of Ulysses gold reckless rice fish. And then Northobranchius capriviensis, another brand new Northo to me. So got a bunch of stuff going these days. Get the camera back to normal here. After I feed out my brine, we'll be good. Let me catch up on chat here. All right. Finally made one. Chris, you're here, my friend. Awesome. All right. Grant and Shelby just added like 20 IBC totes for Neo Caradina. They are way out there. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Good people. I met them a couple times now. Bucks County, the Clashes. Washing machine tank is low on the priority list. I agree. Yeah. What is the temp going into the tanks now? So I have the temperature set at around 76 degrees going into the tanks. My room, like I said, my goal is to keep everything at 78 to 80, depending on how it is outside. At 78, my top tanks will stay 78, my mid tanks will stay 76, and my bottom tanks will stay 74, give or take a degree or two. So that's where we're at. Okay, you feel that my tripod is too massive. Yeah, the Critter Keeper rack's pretty awesome. It's very nice having 21 tanks in such a condensed space. Yes, I like Critter Keepers way more than I like 2.5 gallon tanks. A couple different reasons. 2.5 gallon tanks are a pain in the butt to clean. They have little tiny corners, and I don't like cleaning them. 2, Critter Keepers are light and easily maneuverable, whereas 2.5 gallon tanks are still lighter than normal tanks, but I don't know. I've cracked many of them over the years doing that. And there's a reason why I gave all of my 2.5 gallon tanks to Chris, just because, yeah, don't like them. Any of those old eggs from the other stream hatch? No, unfortunately not. I do still have a couple of the Pomquistai fry that hatched. I do have one Rakovi that survived out of that. So out of 5 batches of eggs, I had, I didn't really do too good this time, but that's okay. That's raising Northos. I already am going to put them away, dry them out, and try again another time. I did really, so 2.8. I put this mop in here. I have about 100 Bosemani fry in here, which I'm super. I'm more happy about that than I am the other Northos, just because this strain of Bosemani came from a really good friend of mine that I've known for years and years, Rosario Lacourte. My dad was really good friends with him way back in the day when the hobby was booming. So I've been to his fish room many a times in my life. In fact, all of my filters that are my Lustar filters are his, that he gave me before he passed. I'm going to say about 10 years ago when he really scaled back his room. So I love this Sarah food. Like it sinks to the bottom, but the fish just eat it off the bottom like nonstop, and it really turns soft very quickly compared to other foods. I'm giving everybody brine shrimp today. Even if I fed you brine shrimp before, you're getting brine shrimp again because I did so much. I swear we'll get into culturing foods in a second here. Just need to make sure everybody gets their feed of everything. So as far as culturing goes today, I am going to focus on paramecium. I'm going to my breeder rainbows didn't get any. And I have a little bit extra left over that I'm not going to feed, so that's going to go into tomorrow morning's feeding. Brine shrimp will survive 36, even up to 48 hours and things. Okay, so I got to give some Sarah probiotic to my Bosemani. I pulled the mop out of here just because I've gotten so many eggs from them that I can't possibly raise, so much fry at once. So I pulled the mop, and I really should pull the mop on a couple other of the ones too. Crackability. Yeah, I mean the critter keepers, if you treat them, good, they're really pretty sturdy. People say that they scratch. I have used these so many times. You have no idea how many. Like I've used them for crested geckos. I've had them for fish in my old room. I've had crayfish in them, and now they're set up, in a automatic water change system. So I've used them like so many different ways. They don't scratch at all, as long as you don't, use like tough Brillo pads on them. Yeah, well, like I said, keep that water clean, Nick, and feed heavy, and you'll get breeding. It's really not all that hard. Is there any fish you worry about overfeeding live foods too? No, not really. I had some like thoughts in the beginning about, because when you feed Daphne outside, you're really feeding whatever in that tub. So you're going to get mosquito larvae, you're going to get midges, you're going to get mayfly larvae possibly, you're going to get bloodworms sometimes. I really don't care. I mean, if it fits in their mouth, they'll eat it, because that's what they're eating in the wild. Starting to become a visibility snob. Yeah, I get that. I'm focused, like I said, on producing. So it's all about you and how you want to raise your fish, man. There ain't no long way. Okay, so brine shrimp is done. These guys are all cool. So let's do some vinegar eels. I gotta find a culture that's booming right now. if you're just joining me, my vinegar eels I do in the high density method, where they're literally on oatmeal that's mixed with vinegar, and we're going to do that today. The way, watch this. This is the way I harvest them. Little paintbrush. Isn't that so much easier than the what's it called method? Getting a gigantic container going and make sure you have the bottleneck and in the butt. Yeah, I don't like doing them that way anymore. All right, Walter worms now. So I've been mixing my Walter worms in with my vinegar eels just because I have so many fry going right now that are teeny, 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 tiny. Supposedly, correct me if I'm wrong, Walter worms are supposed to be like one of the highest, or I'm sorry, one of the smallest foods out there. I don't know. They're definitely small. I'm not sure if they're smaller than vinegar eels, the same size as vinegar eels. Oh yeah, that culture's going. Look at that. Definitely get to at least feed out of these. I have, you know what? I wanted to make a culture of Walter worms tonight, but I have so many of them right now that I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm gonna. Yeah, oh my god. Look at that. It's just literally pure worms. And all I'm doing is pulling them off the side and dumping them into a thing of water. And all right, so I've got the Walter worms. I've got the vinegar eels ready to go. Let's see. Let's see. Where do we leave off at? Don't worry too much about contamination from the site. No, I really don't. As far as the parasites and diseases, I've never had an issue with it in the past. I'm not saying that you're not going to have an issue. Vinegar eels and oatmeal is definitely fantastic. I know various meckerworms are the main live food that I'm actually able to be consistent with. So, was it you that I saw? Was I watching one of your videos? You culture them in shoe boxes, right? Like in like giant vats and shoe boxes. That's probably the way to do it. I should probably switch these cultures over to shoe boxes. But my problem is with this room, like, I don't know what it is, but I always end up getting fruit flies everywhere. So my method with these 3D printed lids keep out the fruit flies. It's all small wiggly stuff to me. Yeah, yeah. No, I remember seeing. I don't know whether it was on a post you did or wherever, but I saw them and I was like, damn, that's a good idea because sometimes I'm tired of these little tiny cultures. But it also works for me because I mean, 2 or 3 cultures I could feed everything in my room all the time with no problems. Okay, I gotta start getting some snails in this one. We got a lot of dead brine shrimp in there. Snails do eat dead baby brine shrimp. Kind of awesome. If you guys didn't know that. So now this is a mix of vinegar eels and worms, Walter worms, whatever worms they are. And the good thing about these is they're super tiny and they'll stay alive pretty much forever in the tank. So you can really load up your tanks with them. And when you are done and you want to save a feeding for later on, you just save a feeding for later on. You could just literally leave them out on the counter and they survive at room temperature. All right, so I wanted to get the feeding done quick tonight so that we can focus on culturing. Let's see, what else do paramecium? That's the last thing I need to do. So I'm gonna try to show this paramecium just because, like I've said, I've was going to do it a bunch of times. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it or not. Kind of. If you could see how the water is like just swimming with life, that's what you want in a good paramecium culture. Now, this culture I have had going since 5/26 of 25. I don't do anything to it other than feed it corn husks, and that is it. Literally corn husks. So, what I do, let me go grab my supply of corn husks over here. I dry them out, and I put them into a container like this. And then every couple weeks, once I notice that the culture is starting to go down, I grab a handful, and it goes right into the paramecium culture. That's all I do for paramecium. Now, it will float like this. You can see it on the top of the water. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get clean water, and I'm going to put the camera down here now because we're going to start doing cultures and stuff. That's a good view. So now I'm going to take this over to my thing. I'm going to grab clean water, and I'm going to top that culture off, and that's literally what I do to it. And this water is perfect temperature right now to go in. And then right after this, we'll make some cultures. I fill it to the top, and that's it. Now these will slowly sink over the next couple days, and then I'm going to say in about a week's time, I will have a beautiful paramecium bloom in there. So it's a little on the light side right now, which is okay. All right, next thing I need to make, I'm going to do 2 cultures of, damn it, I'm out of lids. All right, I have to make more lids too. So I'm going to do 2 cultures of vinegar eels today. And let's see, what do I want to use? So for vinegar eels, I use oatmeal, and I use apple cider vinegar. That's it. There ain't nothing special about it. So the oatmeal that I use is the Gerber brand Grain and Grow baby oatmeal. I don't know why I've been using this for years, and it's a lot finer than regular oatmeal. I also grind it. I'm not sure if that's necessary or not, but I basically have it to where, let me show you. It's literally like a powder. And for oatmeal, that's kind of it's kind of good for these little baby worms. So 3 cultures, I'll use about, I don't know, 4 teaspoons of that. Now, apple cider vinegar, I kind of just measure this until it makes sense. Now, what I have learned from doing this over the years, oh God, this smells awful. So if you're going to make cultures out of, for vinegar eels, make sure that there's not a lot of water when you start out with. Because, so it's funny, I'll show you different cultures at different time periods. This is one I just made 2 weeks ago. As you can see, it's thick and it's viscous, but it's not super watery. Versus this is a culture that's a month and a half old. I don't know why they seem to, for these cultures. I don't know if it's because I'm using the brushes so often on them, but they seem to get more watery over time. So I always have made my oatmeal literally like oatmeal. So when you put it in, that's how you want it to look like. You know, you want it to stick to the spoon and be literally like oatmeal. So let's catch up on some stuff here. Our small wiggly stuff. We said that. Got them in a shoebox. It said that lids prevent flu flies. Yeah. It's nice having infinite live food of some kind. I would never say I have infinite alive food. I always say I have enough most of the time. Oh yeah, I've been watching the beta thing. Chris, have you shined a light on that paramecium culture? I'm just curious how good it was going. Because if so, you need, if it's not going well or you don't have a good bloom in it, just add more uh, add more organics of any type. Like I said, the I really like corn husks. Have you looked much into their nutrition? That's the only thing I don't know about technically about microworms. Yeah, kind of. So from what I understand, microworms have more fat than some other things. But I know they definitely lack the chitinous material that like brine shrimp do have. I know blackworms. Yeah, blackworms have a ton of protein in them. Everyone blackworm and recommends blackworms to enhance color, but never tells why. I know. All right, so we're gonna be making a couple things here. I sat down and didn't get my lids. Where are my lids? They have to be somewhere. Here they are. Okay. So because I don't have anything made, I'm going to be making. So I have my 3D printed lids. Look, you can see how see through they are from right here. You see the label, and then boom, you can't see. So these are printed with a crosshatch pattern that is like kind of like that. So they let air in, but are pretty water retardant for water. So these cultures now, I'm gonna put the oatmeal in here. Another reason why I like making these smaller cultures are because they're easier to give away. They're easier to bring to the clubs. You know, a shoebox is a big commitment, and someone else might not need that much. Even I don't need this much. Like I make more than enough to have enough that if I need to give cultures away, I can give cultures away and not have to worry about it. Okay. Now, when it comes to these, I do not like to put a lot of media. I find if you put a lot of media, you just end up with waste media at the bottom. I would rather redo a culture once. I'm gonna say the vinegar eels last 2 or 3 months. The banana worms and white worms or microworms they last a little less than that, but I've had them last long. It all depends on what molds get into the culture, honestly. Okay, so that's the way I do them. And just like at Dairy Queen, I like to make sure that they're nice and thick with 2 C's. I normally like to do my dishes right away, but I'm running my water change system right now, so that's not an option. I do need to get a bypass valve for that. So, okay, now I need to get a culture to pick these from. So since I'm making 2, I have ones that I made on 116. That's what this is. This is a 116 culture. So this culture is going to get swirled around and dumped directly into these. I don't do a teaspoon. This is why I like doing the small cultures, because now, there we go. Now they have a lot of extra food. All right. Always make sure you label everything. I do forget sometimes, but all right. Shoebox was a little excessive. It's a new experiment for me. Peanut butter jar lids. I like screw-on lids. Well, Nick, if you've never had my way of doing it, this is so simple. All right, so this is HDVE, and it is 21726. And normally these will take about a week before they get going strong. I put in a culture that was pretty active that I've been feeding out of forever. So these should get pretty big. All right. It was hard keeping up with the smaller cultures. Yeah, I don't think it's too hard. It's just you have to constantly be on it every like 2 weeks. If you make new cultures this way every 2 weeks, and I literally do 2 new ones every 2 weeks. So I'm doing 4 cultures a month of high density vinegritos, 4 cultures a month of Walter worms. And these guys are already settling really nicely. Okay, so the lids. You know the way that these lids come, the regular Chinese food container lids. So I found the best way to do these is I have a little kit that I made. Here's a rawhide hammer. Here's a scrap piece of 2x8 that I have one side. And then this is a gasket hole punch kit. They sell them on Amazon. I love this thing for the fish room because it makes really, really super clean holes. And you'll be surprised how many times you need a clean hole. So this kit comes, you can punch a hole that's 5 millimeters all the way up to 32 millimeters. For us, that's 3/16 of an inch all the way up to 1.25 inches. So the good thing about these is you put the die on that you want to punch. You put it in the middle of the thing. You hit it once, and you get a super clean hole. And I normally make a ton of these at once, but I ran out, and I only have a few lids. And then I literally had to pick the one piece that was cross-threaded. There we go. So these little 3D printed valves that I make, they come in 2 parts. It's basically just a screw with a nut. And it goes on there. I put the nut on the top, and I have these in all different colors. I definitely like this better than a drill attachment for these containers because it's super neat and clean. Drills do not do good in plastic. So I think I mixed a couple things. You're worried about feeding them to your tanks. Yeah, I mean, so keep in mind, just always feed a balanced diet. You know, just like your doctor would tell you, just like my doctor tells me. But I always like to say, whenever I go to my cardiologist, he always asks me if I smoke, and I say, unfortunately, yes. You know, brisket, pork, ribs. But yeah, feed a balanced diet. So I feed them microworms, you know, once every couple of days. So I can feed every day if I want, but yeah, the best thing about this one too, the brand is called Senrog, Senrog. So it has a little punch in the center, and that little punch pushes it out. Yeah, it is really nice, and it's nice and heavy. Like this thing will last you forever. You'll never have to replace it. I think it's like $30, but if you want nice clean holes and things, this is the way to go. Like I said, man, this channel is all about, you know, you might watch 30, 40 minutes of video, an hour of video, whatever it is. And if you learn one thing or you do one thing better because of it, then I'm a happy guy. I always say that with all the talks I've listened to. So, like I said, I've been in the hobby 25 years now. And there isn't much that I haven't heard when it comes to fish talks, but every once in a while, you go to a talk and like someone mentioned something you ever heard before, and you're like, actually, it happens more often than you might think. And you're like, wow. So even if you get just like one good piece of advice on a fish talk that you might not have any interest in, you know. So that's it. 2 brand new cultures for next week, and that took me a couple minutes to do. And yeah, see, those guys are already starting to climb the sides. So that means that was a good active culture. And so I could just drill airline size holes and everything. Why would you drill an airline size hole in these? I'm just curious. All right, so that goes on the shelf, ready to feed in about a week's time. Well, I don't know because I did put them on. I literally dumped the whole culture media in with them. So let's see. Paramecium is done. Those guys are done. Whoopsies. I'm a little too aggressive on that one. Um, I have an experiment going on over here. So alternatively, I always keep backups to backups to backups just in case. This was the old way and the way that I think everybody has done vinegar eels in the past. You put apples in a jar like this, you fill it all the way up with apple cider vinegar, and then you put a piece of cotton up here, you know, just filter floss. And then as you can see, all, oh, there you go, a little bit better. All the vinegar eels just congregate in the neck, and then you could push that piece of cotton down and fill the top of it with water, and then they swim up through the cotton or polyester, I guess, and they'll go into it. The only problem is that takes about 20 minutes, and I'm not that patient. So, but the good thing about that is I always like that culture will last years, as long as you have, you know, just apple cider and vinegar, or I'm sorry, apple cider vinegar and apples in that culture. Literally will last for years. So I did a couple of different experiments recently that I haven't checked out recently, so I'm going to check out now. So I made my own cultures of vinegar eels just in these little things, and I did them with different concentrations of vinegar. So I did 50% vinegar, 50% water. Then I did 75% vinegar. And then I did 100% vinegar just to see what would yield the best results. Now, keep in mind, I've made these 12.3 of 25, and I've not harvested from them since. The goal was just to see in a couple months' time how good the vinegar eels actually do. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to start 50-50. So this is the culture that was 50% vinegar, 50% water. And oh my God, that is loaded with vinegar eels. Absolutely 100% loaded. Let's see if you can see this. So all that is 50%. See if I can switch this to the side here. So started on 12.3, vinegar eels with 50% water, 50% vinegar, and I also did an apple slice at the bottom. Absolutely, absolutely loaded. Like ready to feed multiple tanks. So you would have to put this into the thing. So that works. And that is a way that you can culture these guys really easily at home if you don't have any fancy containers or if you don't want to deal with the oatmeal. So 50-50 works super well, apparently. This is 75% vinegar and 25% water. So we're going to look at this. I'm trying to do this without, oh God, I have a SCOBY going on in here. That is also loaded with, so you can see the SCOBY, but that is, let's see if you can see the best view of these. Tons of them. So 75%, I would say that there's no material difference within 75% water, or I'm sorry, 75% vinegar, 25% water, other than the fact that this culture is a little stickier because of the vinegar, I guess, the higher vinegar concentration, and it formed a SCOBY. If you don't know what a SCOBY is, Google it. All right, now 100% vinegar, no additives except for just a couple apple slices. Okay. There are some eels in here, but not even close to the amount that was on the other ones. And I'm trying to get so you guys can see a good view of it. They're there, but you know what? I'm gonna say, since there's no material difference in the other ones, it makes more sense that you should cut everything 50-50, because then you're saving on vinegar. Why do 75-25 if 50-50 works the same? That's my thing. So there's a little culturing 101, a couple different methods of doing it. Keep in mind, that's just how I do it. There's many ways, many ways in the hobby to do it. So I'm going to answer a couple questions. We'll talk a little bit, and then I'll leave you guys to the rest of your night. Let's see. We're going crazy since I realized I'm thing. Bob, $39.99 on Amazon. What's $39.99 on Amazon? I've been making some PVC sponge filter stuff. That's cool. Like jet lifters. Do you know what I saw recently? That so do you watch Keeping Fish Simple? His friend Adrian. So he makes this like bubbling filter with like media in it, out of just like garbage, like literally like water bottles and everything else. I kind of want to 3D print or create a 3D printed thing. Modifying existing filters to remove resistance. That's a good thing to do. Yeah, they're pretty good. Like I said, when I bought mine, it was around $30. Oh, that may be what Bob was talking about. $37.99 on Amazon now. Yeah, and you don't have to buy this particular one. I like this kit. Like, they sell leather punches out there that are like specific to the size hole. So the um, the vents that I made are 7/8 of an inch or 22 mil. And I just found that is the perfect, like, an inch just seemed a little too big, so I made it a little less for these size cultures. And also the at the top of the Chinese food container, there's a little star. Do I have any? Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like, the ones I ordered like 250 of these or something, but there's a little, or not a star, a little like nipple thing, and it comes to, there's a circle, and that punch, like the 7/8 of an inch, is exactly the diameter of it. It's just neat. It's my OCD. But having a punch set versus just like, you could buy a punch for probably like $16, but having a set allows you to do everything. If you're gonna buy this, don't store it in your fish room because it's made of tool steel and it will rust. Even though they are oiled, store it, you know. Or if you're gonna just be careful with it. It's a tool. Aaron Smalls would just put a piece of styrofoam into the vinegar and rinse it with water since the worms climbed on it. Aaron Smalls, is that Black Planted Tank, I believe? I love the apple cider method. Never touch mine. Reset it once, maybe every other year. Yeah, it works. And there's no reason why you can't do that apple cider method in like a huge container, like even like gallon-sized jugs. Everyone should have a little bottle of vinegar with eels in it somewhere. Exactly, my friend. Bob, the punch. Yeah, I got that before. Yeah, I'm sorry. My friend designed a 3D print thing. It's basically just an air collar with a tube to stick a sponge on it and clip for a suction cup. I've been enjoying it. Message me. Show me the file. I'm interested. So, I hate to admit it, but I gave into Bamboo sale this year, and I literally bought a second 3D printer, just because I couldn't. I've been printing so much stuff recently that I'm like, you know what, I have to do it. And also, actually, hold on, because this just came out last week. I'm not sure if I premiered it last week, but I will show you it. I don't remember if we talked about it or not, but I did subscribe to our boy over. What the hell's his name now? Can't remember it. Lowell's Fish Lab, and I printed a couple of the trays. Now, I want to give my advice on it before. I don't know. So here's my advice on it. I like the fry trays. I like mine better just because of this is just really finicky getting into a tank. And then you got to stick your hand in the tank to like screw this piece in, and it's a little finicky. One thing I've also noticed about the new Flow design tray, this piece right here is really, really hard to get out sometimes. And I printed this all in PETG. It's easy, like it slides in super simple at first, but then like when you're here, it's really rough to turn. So I don't know whether it's the top, whether I'm using the wrong settings. Oh, that sound? Hold on. A little ASMR for you. Or wait a minute, was it this one? Hold on. That probably sounds terrible. I'm never going to do that again. I'm sorry. woke everybody up. This is a cool design, though, because it allows the flow to go to multiple different areas. Lowell definitely worked pretty damn hard on this. I will say, in filament alone, so if you buy the good PETG HF through, Sunlu or Bamboo Lab, it's like $22.99 a spool. This alone in plastic is almost 600 grams. So you're talking over half a kilo to print. They're heavy. So the cost of printing it in a good filament that's aquarium safe is like $15. Between $15 and $20, depending on if you use like some really, really 3D, like good filament. I don't think it's worth it because I can print my other ones, which are on my tanks back here. These are so much lighter, and I can print these for about $3. They're just that much lighter, and this is just a lot of unnecessary plastic because you have to print this with 100% infill because it goes in the tank so that it doesn't float on top of the water and just go all over the place. This hangs out the side, the back of the tank. So, I don't know, just my opinion. Let's see. Put a small piece of camphor in the toolbox. Make a vented small box for camphor vapor deposits on bare metal and keep rust away. I wish I knew what camphor is. I'm assuming it's something that prevents rust. Camphor, CAMPHOR. I gotta look this up now. Waxy, flammable, colorless, solid. Oh. White crystalline ketone found wildly in plants. Okay, so it's an anti-rust. Cool. Thanks for teaching me that. Sweet, it's almost creepy. I should call her. Call the torta. I'm leaning towards some of the 3D printed breeder rings, and I'm using them for hatching stuff in. You talking like the German ones that are, they have like a clear acrylic to them? I don't keep fry and tray that long to justify the size. I agree. My trays, the fry are in it. Let's see. I hatched the Bivitatum funge on 12/28, and they're already outgrowing that tray. So they haven't even been in it for 2 months, and now they're going to go into critter keepers. But yeah, it is a lot of filament. Like I said, they do work. I will say that they do exactly what they're advertised to do. But there is a reason why they are so expensive. A lot of thought went into the design. A lot of hours probably went into designing this. When you're running it's a 40-hour print to do the whole thing with all of the parts. And then on top of that, printers, a lot of people don't know this, but printers have maintenance. You need to clean the nozzles. You have to replace the nozzles. You have to replace the blades. You have to replace the wipers. You have to replace the build plates. You have to use glue on the plate. There's a lot that goes. We talked about it last week. There's a lot that goes into 3D printing that are hitting costs. Yeah. Mitchell Broom. Yeah. Didn't he just speak locally? I think he spoke at Lancaster this last month, or he is speaking at Lancaster. Yeah. Yeah, but like I said, I have 2 printers now, so I can just set them both and print the body on one, and while the body is going, I can print the sides, and then I can print this, and then I can print this on the other one. Um, so I always said I have a thing going with my friends. If you want to pay for the filament, I will print you one of these. I think as long as I don't sell them, I'm good. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not trying to make money off of him. But if you guys want one of them, reach out and buy the filament, and I'll print you one. But with that said, my lights are going off. That means it's 8:30. I appreciate you guys. Yeah, Mitchell's speaking at Lancaster this Saturday. I wish I can go, but I appreciate you guys coming. If you think of any topics for next week, I would love to hear them. Because like I said, I'm doing this to share knowledge with everybody. So One of my buddies said do a tour. I think I've kind of did a little tour of every section so far. And I don't want to go into too repetitive things. I'd rather do something new every week, if possible. But yeah, if you guys think of anything you'd like me to do or anything you'd like to see in the room that you haven't seen before, message me on Instagram. You can email me. All my handles are at the Metis Fish Room. So my email is themetisfishroom@gmail.com. I'm on Instagram on the Metis Fish Room. I'm on Reddit on the Metis Fish Room. YouTube, obviously. So thank you guys. I appreciate you spending an hour with me every week. Go out there and breed some fish. Take care. Till the next time. Next week, same time, 7:30.